Hey yo, what up guys, Pixelated here, and on today's Warframe video, we're going to be talking about Octavia. So Octavia was a frame that was released with update 20, and update 20 was a very big update in my opinion. It brought a lot of changes to the game, and of course Octavia is a brand new frame as well. So today, we're going to be talking about all of Octavia's abilities and how Octavia works, how do you play as Octavia and everything. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So first of all, I'm going to be giving you guys my build, then I'm going to talk through all the abilities and everything. So yeah, let's just get right into the build. So the build I'm using is going to be a 2 Forma build, and first of all, I have Energy Siphon, I have Power Drift, I have Prime Continuity, Redirection, Vitality, Prime Flow, Transcend Fortitude, Stretch, and Cunning Drift. Now, I added Cunning Drift for some range, and also Stress for some range, and Prime Continuity and Narrow-Minded for some duration, and Transcend Fortitude for some strength as well, and Redirection and Vitality, of course, for health and shield. Trust me, you do need Redirection and Vitality. Vitality? I said Vitality. That's Vitality. That's what it's called, right? Wow, that was weird. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for my build, and I'm gonna be giving you guys my thoughts on why you don't need efficiency just in a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much the build, and make sure you guys do have a prime flow or a normal flow maxed out, because this frame is definitely a caster type of frame, and this is going to be the Manticore setup that I'm going to be using. Of course, you can use the Manticore to build up your own songs. You can make any songs you want, like any beats, any beat drops, or any certain types of songs that you want, you can make with the Manticore, and it's a pretty amazing mechanic to the game, of course. Now, let's talk about the first ability. So the first ability is Mallet. Mallet is basically going to spawn this rhythmically beat, okay? So basically, it's going to take in the damage, then it's going to release the damage to the enemies. The best way to explain this is through an example. Of course, you throw down this mallet, it has like a range, and the enemies damage the mallet, and the mallet releases the damage to them, so the enemies basically like fucking die instantly. The second ability, however, is called Resonator. Resonator basically launches a roller ball that charms its foes to follow them, and the much, the much enemy it follows, or the much enemies it attracts, the more destructive the roller ball gets. So here's the example. So basically, the enemies will follow the roller ball, and it will continuously keep doing damage to the enemies. So that it's basically a disco ball of doom. Now, wow, well, holy shit, that sounded fucking weird. But yeah, it's basically a disco ball of doom, and yeah, I think this ability is kind of interesting, considering Octavia is a very squishy frame. In case of health and shield, she's very squishy, so this ability will help her keep alive, at least quote-unquote most of the time. But yeah, this is so-called, I don't know, this is kind of okay-ish abilities, but sometimes it can get you killed. I'll talk about that in a bit. And you can also synergize this with the first ability. If you basically drop a mallet, and you drop a resonator, the resonator will basically pick up the mallet, and it will just run around the entire fucking map, and it will just keep doing damage to the enemies that get into that mallet range and everything. So yeah, you can synergize this with the resonator pretty well, and that's how you know this is the perfect ability to be called as the disco ball of doom. And I love it. I love this frame so much. She's so much fun to play. But does this really work? Well, we're going to be talking about that in a bit. But her other ability, which is the third ability, is called Metronome. Now, this ability is all about buffs. I'm talking about all sorts of buffs. So, buffs. All sorts of buffs. So if you jump to the beat, you get a speed buff, and which is called the Vivace speed buff. If you crouch with the beat, you get cloaking buff, which is called the Nocturne buff. Nocturne buff. I'm sorry, I'm probably messing that up so badly. And firing with the beat basically gives you the multi-shot buff, which is called the Opera. And if you swing your melee weapon with the beats, you get a melee weapon damage buff, which is called Forte. Forte in Italian means strong. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, after you cast the ability, you're gonna get this like a disco type of thing, and basically you have to interact with the ability in order to get your buffs. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You guys know what I'm talking about here. You jump with the beat, you get the buff. You clock with the beat, you get the buff. You fire with the beat, you get the buff. Everything you have to do is going to be with the buff. Everything you do is going to be with the buff. Holy shit, that's fucking retarded. But yeah, that's the best way that I can explain to you guys. And yeah, this ability is actually really useful. This is actually the most funniest ability I've seen in Warframe in a while. This is I have no clue like why would they think about this, but this is actually one of the most funniest abilities I've seen in Warframe in my entire playthrough of Warframe or whatnot. But this ability is really useful, and sometimes it, this is where the Manticore thing comes up. If you use a certain song, you cannot use the metronome perfectly. So I would suggest just spamming a bunch of beats here and there just to make the metronome quick, so you can just continuously keep getting the buffs and shit. So yeah, this ability is pretty useful and everything. So yeah, I think you guys will love this ability pretty well. And sometimes, in my playthrough, one of the guys said this, like he just went up and said, "Hey, is this a fight or a concert?" And I'm like, yo, it's Warframe, bro, I can't say shit. So the final ability is called Amp. So draws power from the biblical. Holy shit, I'm so bad at English. So it will basically buff all damage for Octavia and to her allies allies as well. So everyone basically gets a buff, and it also buffs the damage of nearby mallets. Now here's how this works. You drop down one of Octavia's balls, and it will create this disco field. You'll basically create these little fucking things on the ground. It will, like they would just jump up here and there. So you'll basically create this disco field, and this is where the buff comes in. All damage, and when I mean all damage, every single damage is going to be buffed with this ability, at least in that range. So if you drop down a mallet, and suppose your mallet has like a small range, it will buff the range of the mallet as well. So now let's talk about how you use this. Okay, you just drop down a mallet. You see it has like low range at first, then you drop down the amp, and you can see the range increases by a lot. So this ability is basically the must-use ability of amp. And just to show you an example, I first dropped down a mallet, and then I dropped down an amp. And as you can see, these are level 110 bombards, and these dudes are just fucking losing their minds on the battlefield, because they're fucked. They're basically fucked because they can't do shit. And as you can see, the mallet is just like, it's just giving them a shit ton of damage, and they just get killed pretty easily. So yeah, that's the power of combining both of those. Now let's talk about if the frame is useful. Of course, the frame is it's just not bad at all. I don't think this frame is bad at all. In fact, it's a great step forward, considering we're getting a lot of frames that, basically synergize with each ability. As you can see, the first ability synergizes with the second ability, and the third ability synergizes with the fourth ability. So this is really good. This is actually a really good step forward, and I really do appreciate this design. This type of design is really good. That's when you can get the most out of a frame, by synergizing with a weapon, synergizing with the ability. So this is like a really good step. And let's talk about how you use the frame. This frame is really useful for, let's say, mobile defense, any high-level defense, end-game defenses like sortie defenses, because you can just do a shit ton of damage with this type of frame. And you just have to crouch a lot to keep yourself alive, because let's be honest, Octavia is really squishy. So you have to just keep crouching, and your hands or your thumbs will hurt a lot, because considering you're just gonna be pressing the R1 button, or the is it R1? I believe it's L1 or something. So yeah, whatever it is, your thumbs are gonna hurt a lot. But yeah, you have to spam mallet and you have to spam amp in order to keep yourself going. So that's pretty much the best way I can explain Octavia. and yeah, she really is a very useful frame in endgame defenses or whatnot. She's such a good frame, and I love it. And you're not gonna be having any energy issues whatsoever, because Octavia's passive is that after casting an ability, she regenerates 1 energy per second for 30 seconds for herself and her allies at the same time. So if you have Zenuric, you're all good. You're just not gonna need any efficiency whatsoever. So yeah, that's why I didn't give efficiency for my build. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because hitting that subscribe button helps me out a ton. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Hope you all have a great day.